Hey guys, I'm getting ready to read chapter 4. It's called Good Job Boys. So far we've learned that Jack and Annie have traveled back into 1947 and they're in Brooklyn, New York, where the Brooklyn Dodgers, which was a baseball team at the time, are playing their home opening game. So they're in Brooklyn and it's the first game of the season and they're playing the Boston Braves. So both of those teams still exist, but they're in different cities now. Anyway, Jack and Annie are the Bat Boys thanks to their special caps that make them both look like boys. And they had help finding the stadium from two kids that they met, Otis and Olive. Otis and Olive are going to help them because Otis and Olive watch all the games, but they don't actually watch them from inside the stadium. They watch them from outside the stadium. Chapter 4 is called Good Job Boys, and Jack and Annie were just getting ready to unload the other team's gear in their locker rooms. So they'll be in the Boston locker rooms unloading their gear. All right. Chapter 4 starts on page 27. Jack and Annie knew exactly what to do. Jack felt like he'd been a bat boy all his life. He hung his bag on a hook, then he and Annie headed for the equipment trunks lined up near the door. They started with a trunk labeled uniforms. They opened the lid. They pulled out white jerseys with red letters that spelled Braves. Together, they swiftly hung up all the uniforms in a row of lockers. They finished just as the Braves arrived. All the men laughed and joked with each other as they spilled into the clubhouse. No one spoke to Jack or Annie. In fact, no one even looked at them. Jack and Annie paid no attention to the team either. Their magic caps help them know the rules. Bat boys never bother the players. They never get in their way. Next, Jack opened an equipment trunk labeled cleats and helmets. He and Annie pulled out baseball shoes and batting gear. They used rags to wipe everything off. Then they quickly lined up the shoes on benches. Jack and Annie hurried to a trunk labeled bats. Together, they pushed the trunks out of the visitors' clubhouse and toward the ball field. Yikes, look at the time, said Annie. She pointed to a large clock over the scoreboard. We only have 20 minutes till the game starts. And lots more to do, said Jack, full speed. They pushed the trunks over to the visitors' dugout under the stands. Then, racing against the clock, they flew through the rest of their tasks. Jack quickly unloaded bats from the trunk. He handed them to Annie. She placed them on the shelves of a bat rack inside the dugout. They rushed back to the visitors' clubhouse and unloaded another trunk. They pulled out a first aid kit, shin guards, a catcher's mitt and mask, and boxes of chewing gum. They carried all these things to the Braves' dugout. By now, the home team, the Brooklyn Dodgers, had left the field. The visiting Boston Braves had started their warm-ups. The noise in the ballpark was deafening. The stands were full. "Hey, Bat Boys!" a girl yelled. "Get us an autographed ball," a boy yelled. Jack looked up. Kids were shouting at them from the stands. "An autographed ball! Please, please!" "Sorry," yelled Annie. Jack shook his head. They both knew the rule. Bat Boys never do favors for fans. Jack and Annie hurried back into the clubhouse. They unloaded towels from a trunk. They filled jugs with water from a sink. They packed baseballs into a canvas bag. Then they carried everything to the dugout and put it all in the right places. Uniforms, cleats, shin guards, masks, said Annie. Water, first aid kit, bats, towels, baseballs, chewing gum, said Jack. Anything else? Nope, we did it, said Annie, looking at the clock. It was 2:25. The game would start in 5 minutes. Good job, boys, said the clubhouse manager as he passed by. Thanks, said Annie. Jack and Annie quickly took their seats on the bench in the dugout. The Boston Braves players sat near them, looking tense. Some scowled and folded their arms. Others chewed gum or taped their feet. Scowled. A voice came over the loudspeaker. Page 32. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. The crowd stood, the players stepped out of the dugout and placed their baseball caps over their hearts. Oh no, thought Jack. He and Annie couldn't take their caps off. If they did, everyone would see them as young kids and see Annie as a girl. Annie took Jack's arm. She pulled him back into a shadowy area inside the dugout. There, they placed only their hands over their hearts. Jack desperately hoped none of the players would turn around and notice them. A man sang the Star-Spangled Banner in a deep, rich voice. Oh, say, can you see? I'm not going to sing the rest of that to you guys. Jack nervously kept his eyes on the flag flapping in the breeze. Hurry, hurry, he thought. Finally, the singer sang the last lines. In the home of the brave. They're the Braves, Boston Braves. Logan Elm Braves always go crazy during that part. The national anthem was over. The players all put their caps back on. Play ball, roared an umpire at home plate. Whew, Jack said to Annie, and they stepped out from the dugout. Noise filled the park, fans cheering, horns honking, bells clanging. See ya, said Annie. Yep, said Jack. They both knew exactly what to do. Annie was in charge of bats. She ran to the batting circle. She knelt on the ground, ready to pick up the bats the players dropped at home plate. Jack was in charge of baseballs. He hauled the canvas bag over to a stool near the edge of the diamond. He sat down. A strong breeze gusted over Abbott's field. Jack pulled his cap down firmly on his head. Then he leaned forward to watch the game. His heart was racing. Now the hard part begins, he thought. What a fun job to be a bat boy or a bat girl for a professional baseball team. And hard too, like you'd have to be really good at baseball, but that would be a neat job. We went to a tennis tournament last year, and the bat boys and girls, or ball boys and girls, like they have to get all the loose balls, and they always have to have a towel handy for the players. And I thought, man, those kids practice a lot so that the professionals can play with no interruptions and everything's ready to go. I thought that's super cool. I would love to have been able to do that. I mean, I didn't play either game, but it still looked like a lot of fun. All right. If you're Zooming today, I'll talk to you soon.